So Heather and I are finally going to be able to take our vacation. I don't know how much of it it'll be, because there's the mask order now. Roy Cooper set that down, and there are a lot of places that still aren't that open, but at least we can kind of get away from it all, So bottom line is I'm not going to be producing much content over the next couple of weeks. So what I thought I'd do is go ahead and cover a bunch of stories now and just schedule them to run. So apologies if some of them are a little out of date, but I think most of them are just kind of general interest. A lot of them might even be timeless, videos that people, go back to maybe even years from now. But I'll start off seeing if I can put up the ones that would be more dated so you can go ahead and see those. And then as the next couple of weeks goes on, they should be more and more general, because there's some there are a lot of things I want to talk about. But this one is going to be about Oregon dropping its mask exemption for people of color after racist response. Yeah, I mean, this is just crazy. We have all of the Black Lives Matter protests going on. And probably, I would guess, maybe 95% of the protesters I absolutely agree with, and I'm behind, and I'm cheering them on. Of course, there you have the looters and all those. Of course, I'm against those, and unfortunately, they've been kind of. It's not so much that they're lumped together; it's that the regular Black Lives Matter people have been going, well, the riots are kind of justified. No, they aren't. Riots are never justified. They've even been quote mining Martin Luther King, and I don't know what's up with that. And of course, the Black Lives Matter organization itself, the people who run it have pretty much admitted that they're Marxists, and so all they're really doing is capturing this issue to try and push Marxism. But anyway, it's really weird with this happening in COVID, because what's a politically correct person supposed to do? Because on one thing, you want to go with the science, which says, hey, it's better to wear masks when you go out. And no, they're not perfect. They don't do everything to stop COVID, but they help. They help a lot. But then what are you going to do about all these protests? You do anything against the protests, and that's automatically racist. So how does that go? So the story says a mask mandate exemption for people of color meant to address racial profiling concerns has been removed after a racist backlash. Now, I'm sure as we get into the story, we'll know what they mean by a racist backlash. Do they mean a backlash by people who are obviously racists? Or do they just mean a backlash saying, accusing to say, hey, look, that's racist, you can't do that. So, well, Lincoln County leaders, I like how that's kind of vague and takes away individuals, but they said Wednesday, the expressions of racism regarding the exception has created a ripple of fear throughout our communities of color. The very policy meant to protect them is now making them a target for further discrimination and harassment. So, not really sure what they're talking about, but I would imagine maybe it's a case where, you're going around masked, you must be a criminal, like they do, like they've always done, except now we've got a global pandemic going on and we actually want people to be wearing masks, so. The county requires most residents to wear face coverings in public settings, indoors or outdoors. The locale, which is overwhelmingly white, has been one of the first places in the United States to exempt non-white residents if they fear harassment. Also exempt are people with disabilities or medical conditions whose breathing would be too obstructed, and children under 12, though children ages 2 through 12 are still encouraged to cover their faces. They don't really make masks for children is the thing. Why is this not scrolling? You're supposed to be scrolling. Scroll for me. Okay, that got it. It's scrolling now. Right. So where was I? Okay, people with disabilities are exempt. But following the announcement, county leaders received unprecedented vitriol and horrifically racist commentary that turned the policy into one that makes people of color more of a target for harassment and discrimination. Let's see if they actually go into why. They go into the mask recommendations. Seems like a reasonable response. Unless you just sort of take American society out of it, Trevor Logan, an economics professor at Ohio State, said, and a black man. You have to put an and a black man because that's important. When you can't do that, you're basically telling people to look dangerous, giving racial stereotypes that are out there. You're telling people to look dangerous. Wearing a mask, yeah. It's a lose-lose scenario, Renika Moore of the ACLU's Racial Justice Program told CNN in April, because either way, black Americans feel endangered. Now, here's the part of the story that gets me. They've shouldered the brunt of the coronavirus. Initial data shows that black Americans are dying at disproportionately higher rates than other ethnicities. The American Public Media Research Lab estimated the black Americans' COVID-19 mortality rate is 2.3 times higher than the rate for white and Asian Americans. Okay, so I really hate the level of detail that this story doesn't give us, because it doesn't say, it doesn't even make it clear which of them are going to be harassed, or is it going to be the ones wearing the masks or the ones not wearing the mask? You know, hey, you're not wearing a mask, you should be. And yeah, but the point is, if you're going to have a mask order, it has to apply to both black and white people and everyone else. You know, you can't be saying that, oh, well, you know, we're going to have this whole segment of the population where we're just going to let them do their thing because we don't want to be racist. Well, guess what? Coronavirus isn't racist. It's going to infect everyone no matter what. And if it is true, you know, you can follow these links for yourself and decide for yourself. But if it is true that if it's disproportionately hurting blacks, I would think that would be a reason not to give mask exemptions for them. And I mean, if police are looking at a black person wearing a mask and saying, hey, you're wearing a mask, you must be trouble. It's like, what's wrong with you? Okay. Those people are too screwed up to be police. So fire them, get rid of them, you know. But that's become increasingly difficult to do. But I've got a story on that coming up on qualified immunity. But I just wanted to get this off my chest, mostly because the news keeps kind of talking around this issue and they don't really want to say which way is going. And but the point is, you got people out there who want to protest, right? So they go out and protest for Black Lives Matter. And that's okay, because if you go against that, you're racist, apparently. Well, I mean, I'm fine with their right to go and protest. That's, you know, their right. Absolutely. They've got the First Amendment right. But then Trump goes and holds a campaign rally, and that's horrible because they're spreading coronavirus. Well, it's one or the other, people. It's one or the other. You know, if it's good for black people to do it for a cause you like, then, you know, Republicans can do it for a cause they like. You know, impartiality of the law, that's the important part here. And that's really the only screed I have. And especially if it's true that black people are more susceptible to coronavirus. I don't know if it is or not. I'm not an expert, but you know, I would think that would be an even better reason to say, hey, wait a minute. You know, we need to make sure that everyone's wearing masks and everyone's protected. Although I am, you know, against any mandate. But I think it's just a good idea that people should do when they're out and about. But yeah, the law has to be impartial above all else. If you're not in favor of the impartiality of the law, then how are you against racism and for civil rights? You know, because those two things don't jive. You know, civil rights requires impartiality of the law. The problem was the law wasn't impartial. The Jim Crow laws were, very the opposite of impartial. So, I don't know. That's the part that I just needed to get off my chest. It kind of drives me crazy about this. So, thank you very much for watching. Please hit like, subscribe, and the bell. And if you like what I'm doing, go to donate.bogosity.tv. You can donate all sorts of ways, PayPal, cryptocurrency, and I'm trying to get some other options in there. You can also become a regular supporter at Patreon at Subscribestar. Get the videos early, get them without ads. And thank you very much. Until next time, stay strong and be free.